picks it up. I don't even know why they gave you to it there.
Anyways, hey everyone, how's it going? Wheatley here with...
Did I interrupt the intro again?
Yes. Anyways, state your name for the record.
Well, you just called me by my name for the record. I mean, come on, man.
And we're playing Apologistice, and we're fine.
You were going to say fine first, weren't you?
Yeah.
Snackoos.
One thing I keep forgetting to do is raise the process priority on desk booming. I would be just like, I don't really normally like people admitting to people that I use an emulator, but they can see my mouse anyway, so...
Alright, go to the other side of the room. So.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm just following...
Oh, hang on. Before we do, I need to examine this. Oh, I'm taking a closer look at those paintings. I just love oils, you know? How they're so thick. Is that the word? These paints are all dry. I'm just surprised at how different these all are.
That one's a pufferfish.
And that one's unfinished. Yeah, and what's going on with this half-finished one? It must have been a work in progress. You can still see the rough sketch below. That's what's so weird. The sketched part doesn't really fit the finished part. I noticed. That is weird. Hey, can't talk to Emma about it. Frick. Actually, can I? Emma, about this painting. Oh, that. Quite good, isn't it? That's not what I wanted to ask you about. You want to examine it, is that it? I'd be happy to let you, if you had a good reason. But without that, sorry. I guess she wants us to do a little folk of our own first. Oh my god, it's so obvious. Hang on, let me examine. Let me turn it around. Nope. But, there's this up here. Apollo, look at this painting. You can see the rough sketch. Oh, looks like it was only half completed. Yeah, that's funny. Do the rough sketch and the finished painting look totally different to you, too? They do, actually. What's that all about? That's our reason right there. We have to examine it. Emma, about this painting. What?
Alright, here. I'm just going
What do you want?
to examine. I want to trace something. Okay, the statue is pointing directly at the microscope.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, you're thinking about it too much, but okay. Is that desk for painting, Apollo?
Oh, it doesn't even let you examine the microscope. It's kind of BS.
That would be a drafting table. Drafting? Basically, it's a tool for making precise diagrams. Wow, painting is harder than I thought! Why would a painter need a drafting table? Was he an architect too? What is all this equipment here for? It doesn't look very artistic, really. He had everything from a lathe to a laser cutter. Looks like he was ready to work on metals and wood, too. Though his equipment's a bit old, to tell the truth. Why'd a painter need all this? From the dust, I'd say he hadn't used this stuff for years. This corner doesn't fit with the rest of the studio. Oh, do you think I could borrow this? I want to cut a quarter and have to make a trick coin. This is a crime scene, Trucy. But those cost like $50 at the magic shop.
Maybe the printer-looking thing in the back of the room.
This thing?
Yeah. That looks like a printer. Nope, same stuff. Oh,
We already examined the table.
Like,
So.
my OCD is wanting me to examine these too thoroughly, apparently, for the game.
Yeah.
Maybe the tear in the wall?
Wait a minute, hang the frick on.
Wait, no, that's sunlight. That's
Hang
sunlight.
on, let me put it. Oh, Emma, I was wondering about this painting here. Ah! That one, what about it? What about it? Yeah, what about it, Apollo? Take a closer look at it. Both of you. Now, look at this one. This is the third painting he was working on. Hey, they're the same! I was hoping you wouldn't find that. You're right, though. Dream Hashem was copying this painting. Wow, it's pretty good. Copying a painting? What for?
You're probably going to have to present the other one.
Emma, about this painting. Oh, that? Quite good, isn't it? Alright, let's...
What? She just gave us a good reason.
Let's present the other. Oh my god. I assume it's gonna say the same thing. Talk about forensic science. Who can we do a little forensics work? I suppose, if we must, just this once. Now will it? Nope.
I have a feeling we're not going to get much out of here.
Let's go somewhere else for now.
Yeah, might as well. October 7th, Sunshine Coliseum.
Woohoo! This is it, Apollo! The place where magic and dreams converge. There's no Gavin Ears blimp in the sky anymore. Now instead there's a something Japanese hot air balloon thing. Just a while ago it was a place where murder and nightmares converged. Let's go say hi to Uncle Valen. What about the case? This is you.
I'm trying
or at least I'm pretty sure this is you. This might be Valent, but I'm pretty sure this is you.
Whoa!
Only a performer laughs like that. Oh, it is Valent. Never mind.
Yeah, I was going to say it was totally going to be you.
The young Miss Trucy! How often I hoped we'd meet again only to tell myself it was an impossible dream. Gee, Uncle Valent, how's it going? I'm glad to see you too. Of course you are. Humility is definitely not one of his stronger traits. Well, Miss Trucy, how does the day find you? If you've come to give me flowers, do it after the show, I beg you. Actually, we came to wish you good luck. And congratulations on your big magic show. Oh, but it is I who wish to congratulate you. Not everyone is so lucky as to witness miracles such as I shall perform. Yeah, you're amazing. We get the picture. The world will watch in wonderment as magnificent illusions are reborn. Here on stage, by my hand. Okay, I was wrong. Whatever. Everyone's talking about the big magic show. Is it true that the Grammary Miracle is back after a 7-year absence? Miss Trucy, I must apologize. The show and its honor should have been his. Daddy. My co-magician in training, Zach Grammary, if that terrible thing hadn't... It's okay. Your father was a great magician, Trucy. If he were alive, then I, Valent Grammary, would have been proud to stand upon this stage as his assistant. Thanks, Uncle Valent. You know, I'm happy you're doing the show. To think we get to see the great Magnificent Illusions again. She really is looking forward to this, isn't she? My mentor, the Magnificent Grammary, was a true deity among magicians, a creator god who gave birth to magic and illusions that defied our very imaginations. It's so hard to read this pixelated text. I was so little when I last saw one, but I still remember his shows. He did wheelies in a sports car through the air above the audience, and then sped off to outer space faster than the speed of sound. I'm guessing that memory was a bit embellished. For 7 long years, the world has been waiting for a miracle to match his. As heir to the Grammary Troop's secrets, it falls on me to provide one. If it is my God-given destiny. Yes, you, nameless face who speaks for the nameless masses. How can I help you? If the world was waiting, why did you hold off for 7 long years? It appears the lad is uninformed. Perhaps you have heard of the magic known as law, which governs our land? I have, though I'm not sure it qualifies as magic. The performance of Magnific's miracle was impossible. A certain law prevented it for 7 years, but no more. 7 years? That phrase sure likes to pop up, doesn't it? And why was that? A little matter called performance rights, Trucy. Can you tell us about these performance rights? Magnify's magic relied on an incredibly innovative idea, a trick if you will. That trick was considered his property, and as such was protected by property laws. Intellectual property, maybe? Magnify knew this and bequeathed it in his will to one person. You mean him? Yes, Miss Trucy, it was your father. Zach Gremory was the inheritor of the Gremory miracle. Daddy. Yet, as you well know, he is gone. He disappeared suddenly, 7 years ago. I think I see where this story has gone. Once a person is classified missing for a certain period of time, they're considered legally deceased, correct? Oh wait, that was Apollo speaking. In all absoluteness, those rolled up sleeves conceal your competence well, young man. That certain period of time of which you speak is 7 years. Ah! Yes, Miss Trucy. Though it pains me to say it, the past spring, April to be precise, was the time your father was legally declared deceased. In the absence of a formal will, the secrets of the mighty mentor Magnify passed to me. This was, in fact, stipulated by the will by Magnify himself. Is that how it works, Apollo? Yeah, it's called death in absentia. He's declared missing permanently. Daddy. Oh wait, no, I have to present something. Forgot. Take that. I was wondering if you could tell me about this. Aha! Why, that bears the Gremory seal! Uncle Valet, is something wrong? Trucy, where did you get this? Huh? Daddy gave it to me. Your daddy? My partner, Zach No, my other daddy, Phoenix Wright. Why now? Why would your Lord Daddy... Lord Daddy, that's kind of a stretching the whole archaic thing a bit. This signature upon the back, do you recognize it? That belonged to none other than Zach Gremory. What? Daddy signed this? Might I be so bold as to open it? I'm sorry, but I can't let you do that. What's in this envelope, I wonder?
Maybe
a challenge, is it? You want me to make this disappear? Very well, give it to me. No thanks. Are all magicians like this? Apollo, what was that look just now? I was just thinking how hard it is to get any information out of a magician.
It sounds like you're opening a bottle of coffee or something.
It's water.
It sounded more like coffee.
Why would coffee be in a bottle?
Coffee in a bottle is good. I wish I could have coffee again.
I wouldn't know.
Sorry, just... I had to give up coffee recently, and it's been a bit hard.
Detention center? I'm just gonna go everywhere I can now. Okay.
October 7th, Detention Center, Visitors Room.
Oh, you're here to see Vera Bishop? Yes, that's right. She's in the medical office.
She's in the medical office at the moment.
Medical office? Is she okay?
She's just lying down. She said she didn't feel so good.
Surprised she said anything.
I'm sorry, but I can't allow any meetings at the moment.
Most annoying client ever. Guess we should come back.
Maybe to write anything?
Okay. Nope.
I'm still here. At you with those cold dead eyes.
Emma, I was wondering if you could take a look at this. Look, I'm a detective. A detective! You can't just ask me any old thing and expect an answer, okay? I think you need to be a little more focused in your inquiries. Scientific, even. Somehow I knew she'd get around to science.
Have you tried presenting the photo frame yet? It's
Hang on. Let's see. The business card reads Spark Brush. Hang on, let me present this. Okay, nope.
No, like the tiny frame. Shit! No! Get! Okay. Check.
There has to be something we've missed.
Maybe the picture of a potted plant?
Which one? This one?
No, the other one.
This?
Doesn't let you examine it. Dang.
Let me examine the mail. The letterbox looks funny sitting inside a room like this. Let's take a look. Empty. The other half of that letterbox is actually connected to the outside of the studio. Mr. Bisham would put his letters in there, and the postman took them away. Impressive that someone still writes letters in this day and age. Or wrote, rather. I'm pretty sure I already examined the cup, but I'll do it again. I imagine this coffee cup was for guests to use. Guests? Did the police already analyze this cup too? Not a trace of poison was found on that cup, so the killer was after Drew Misham alone. Yeah, I think we already saw that one.
Maybe the like suspicious.
Maybe the palette. Let me the palette.
You haven't checked the palette?
Let's take a closer look. Nope, we've already seen it. Oh. Oh no, we have it! Yes, finally, something different. You think his works really goes for 100 grand a piece? Maybe I should take a painting. I don't think his paintings are worth that much. Something's not right here.
I'd say he was a forger.
Exactly. Now that we've seen that clip. God.
Maybe the suspicious looking thing that's under the table on the left hand side. Under the table, left hand side.
Oh, this
that bulb. Yeah.
Where's all this equipment? Okay.
Come on! I'm sorry, this is annoying the crap out of me that this stuff can't be examined more.
I'm bringing up Chrome. You see,
or maybe the medicine cabinet.
I consider it alright to look stuff up in pre-Dual Destinies because in Dual Destinies they actually give you stuff to work with.
They don't just pull a Phoenix Wright and throw you in the middle of a trial without knowing anything.
Very much.
Ildune's noodles. Lucky. This is third case.
Fourth.
Oh wait, this is fourth. What? Coffee drawer.
Oh.
Mug.
Oh, yep. I should have figured. We've done everything we need here. But so a journalist was here on a story.
Oh my god.
All eyes in the universe are upon my stage. All pens seek to commit his mysteries to paper. His name was Brushel. Brushel. I think he remembers him. He doesn't look too happy about it. Brushel, that cloying smell of mint when he smiles, yes. Ah, could you tell us more about him? What did he want? Finally, we're getting somewhere. A man by that name called on me just now. Just now? Valent's vision is always towards tomorrow. Valent's feet step always forward. That is all. That's all? Very confusing. I'm to perform a big magic show, yes. I wanted someone to cover it. Yet, he had ears only for the incident. That incident? In any case, I requested that the rapacious reporter remove himself. So a painter has died, what of it? It is but a footnote in the footlights compared to the magic of gramarye. Uncle Valent, do you know where the reporter went? I recommended he visit that place popular with penalized perpetrator. The detention center. He was a rude individual. Might I see that card? Sure. He would tear apart my respectability. I will tear apart him! Ooh, here comes Paul. Uncle Valent's big magic trick. Is he going to fix that card? Not sure that qualifies as big magic. What happened to the big magic? Is not more miraculous for it to stay ripped? He must have really not liked that journalist. Now the time has come when I must return to make my prestidigitation preparations.
Yes. Good.
By your leave, Miss Trucy. Thanks, Uncle Valent. 3 days from now, make ready for a miracle. Hopefully the trial will be over then.
Blue Badger. What do you think that journalist was after?
Shit. And why did Valent react like that to the envelope? I think it's time to pay the detention center another visit.
Now it is.
And of course, we have to take a detour.
October 7th. Detention Center. Visitors Room.
This is definitely it.
I think I hear what you're saying. We're all doing it for the money. End quote.
No.
Oh, wait. No. Not at all.
Looks like someone's already meeting here. Maybe that reporter?
Hey there. How you doing? Who might you be?
Sorry. He reminds me of the creepy doctor. With the pink hair. You remember that guy?
I know. Yeah, I know. I know the good voice for them.
Sorry. We didn't know someone was already here. I'm Apollo Justice, attorney at law. Talk about a nervous monkey. Oh, and
you're Justice? You?
He even has the same music as the doctor. You know me?
Do I know you? Of course I know you. And stares down the witnesses on the stand till they spill the beans. End quote.
That's not true. What's he writing?
Yes, it is true.
Are you a reporter by any chance?
Woo! You're a Trucy! I'm grabbing my chest like a...
I want...
oh my God.
I'm grabbing my chest like I want to grab yours. I mean, what? Am I famous?
Oh yeah! Trucy right. Hates carrying a bag. Puts everything she owns in her panties. End quote.
Eek! That's so not true!
Yes, it is true. Just hold on to your beaches. There. I'll just wrap this interview in a jiffy.
Interview?
So, guard, I think I know what's going on here. Gunner rooms is my life. What else could I possibly need? End quote.
No! Oh, sorry.
No! How many times do I have to tell you this? Look, I've got work to do. You deal with it. Hello, David Garrido.
Did you come here to interview the guard?
Ooh-wee, what a pickle. Accused wouldn't talk, had to interview someone or go plumb crazy. End quote.
Huh? I should have guessed.
Where's my manners? Name's Brushel, Spark Brushel. I'm not piggy. Journalist just closes his eye. Writes. End quote.
What's that nauseating strong mint smell every time he grins? He has a toothbrush in his pocket. What do you think it is?
Until you've been interviewed by me, you don't know what thrilling is. Wild romp through crossroads of mayhem, madness. End quote.
I can see that. He's writing something again. Well, if he's a reporter, maybe he knows something.
god, I love his voice already.
Yeah. So, Mr. Brushel, you're a journalist?
Ah, me? Look, let me state one thing for the record here.
Yes?
I'm the interviewer, you understand? Yeah. The one asking the questions here. End quote.
Okay.
For instance, you think a movie director watches movies?
Well, I think he probably does.
Exactly. I knew you'd understand.
Huh? So the night of the murder, you were at Drew's studio?
Who, me? Look, let me state one thing for the record.
Yes?
I may look calm and collected, but I'm busy. Real busy. Always on the road. Journalist always buys one-way tickets. Never looks back. End quote.
I can understand that philosophy, but...
You want to know one thing about one-way tickets? Once you use them, they're gone. All because you have to give them to the guy at the airport.
True enough. But don't they give normal tickets away too?
Exactly. See, it's the same thing.
What is? So, you went to do a story on Drew Mission, and he'd never have a story done about him before.
That's right. Look, let me say one thing for the record here.
What?
I'm sure you're going to want to know about my source. What tipped me off to Drew? Why do the interview in the first place?
Well, yes.
Look, it's like, oh, I've got it. Say there's this burger joint with fabulous ketchup.
Oh, I could go for some.
You think the burger guy is going to tell me where he's got it?
At the supermarket, maybe.
Exactly. See, that's what I'm talking about.
I think I may have actually understood that one.
Well, there's nothing I can talk about, really. Walls have ears, eyes, especially with glass wall speakers. End quote.
Right. Guess we'll leave that.
Ah, but since you're here, might as well tell you a tidbit about me, some news I just saw, just for the heck of it.
Sure, tell us, just for the heck of it.
I remember, like it was yesterday. I hadn't seen a movie on a trip, and wandered to this burger place with amazing ketchup. When an article tabloid caught my eye. Famous oil painting stolen from an art dealer's gallery. End quote. I believe it was.
Oil painting. Oh my god, his nose before that last sprite. Oh man.
It happens every day, right? But I thought I'd seen that painting somewhere before. A painting of a giant peach floating down a river. That is a giant peach floating down a river.
As is that. Notable for the large peach in the fork. Someone stole an oil painting of a giant peach?
Journalists can smell scoop better than burgers. End quote. Present me the, wait, don't leave. Present me the photograph. Alright, let me go on the record here.
Yes?
I know what you're going to say. Brushel, take this, write brilliant column. End quote.
I don't think so.
Look, buddy, I write brilliant columns about one thing. And that's food. Try to understand.
What could he possibly be writing? He didn't listen to a word I said.
I'm not doing his ridiculous voice for us, like, second time there.
I believe we go here.
October 7th, to the studio.
Well, how'd it go? Find anything out? Actually, there was one thing I wanted to check with you. What's with that scary face you're making? And what's with the I know something but I'm not telling face you've got going, Emma?
Talk.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Oh no. Why did I do this to myself? Why did I do this to myself? Yeah, I'm about this painting. Oh, that? Alright. What about this? This painting came from behind that dresser. Ah, yes, so? It was stolen, no? I was hoping you wouldn't figure that out. You think you could tell us a bit about this? I suppose. It's what you think. Drew Misham was a forger. A forger? So what exactly is a forger? Well, basically, it's someone who makes forgeries. Fakes, in other words. Fakes? Copies of an original. Exact copies, so precise you can't tell them apart. Well, why not just photocopy them? The big problem with forgeries is that people try to sell them as the real article. It's a crime, of course. So Drew Misham was a criminal? I'm afraid so. He received money to create elaborate forgeries, to supplement his work in illustration, I guess. I see. Actually, that's why I brought this here in the first place. What do you mean? When you're trying to determine if a painting is a forgery, the rough sketch underneath can be a valuable clue. So a rough sketch is like practice for the real thing, like doing a magic trick in front of a mirror before you go on stage. But not in the case of a forgery. Not necessarily, anyway. You know what the finished product is going to look like after all. Oh, yeah, I guess you would. That's why I brought this. I'm going to use it to see what's under the paint of the finished pieces. I get it now. Not that I really needed to go to such lengths, seeing as how one of those paintings was only half finished anyway. Still, it'd be neat to see Mr. Misham's rough sketches. Kind of like what he was drawing when he thought no one was looking. True, that would be interesting, and maybe valuable for our case. You should try buttering her up, Apollo. Flattery will get you everywhere, they say. Huh, maybe I should ask him to help us out. I pressed the wrong button. I did it again. I'm just pointing this time. I kind of wanted to see the rough sketch under this painting, and I was wondering if your tool there might do the trick. Okay, fine, fine. Just this time, though. Let's check it out. Okay, let's print this one out. Look familiar?
That looks like a rock on top of a flaming.
Oh, what the heck? Wow, he really blows. The finished painting isn't anything like the rough. Devices like mine, it didn't exist until recently. He probably thought he could draw any sort of thing he wanted to for the rough. What do you mean? Well, in the past, you could only analyze the composition of a rough sketch. Composition? In other words, the traces of charcoal between paint and canvas. So you could tell if there had been a rough sketch, but not what it looked like. Ah, I think I follow you. So, in essence, it wouldn't matter what was underneath the finished painting. Some pros would actually paint out a rough sketch entirely. They do a complete new painting on top of that. Then do a complete new painting on top of that. So Mr. Misham was drawing whatever he wanted before painting over them? Possibly. Is there a problem with that? Not particularly, but something about this sketch itself is kind of odd. You're awfully silent all of a sudden, Apollo. You think we could check out the other paintings? Well, sure. You like this detection stuff, don't you?
I do the middle one.
Oh, I already clicked on it.
It's fine. So when you say familiar, that one was also from the beginning sequences?
No.
Or was it
Just
supposed
wait. Now does this look familiar?
Even more so. That one's from the open.
This one too. What's wrong, Apollo? You look so serious all of a sudden. You think I could just look at the last of these? Fine by me, knock yourself out.
These are in order of each case that you've done.
Just if you
This
had to
was-
just if you had to guess, what do you think this will be?
Noodle cart in the park. Because the other one was poker. That one was rock gun. So yeah, noodle cart.
Okay, let's print this one out. What the heck is all this? I hesitate to ask why you're getting so excited. You sure your device isn't leaking some kind of strange radiation? Trucy, look at these 3 sketches. Do you notice anything? Ah! There! Now you're both as white as sheets. What's going on? These sketches are of the 3 cases I worked on. What? The murder in the poker room at the Borscht Bowl Club. The dead man pulling the noodle stand. And then the events that transpired during the Gaviner's concert. What could it mean? How could he have painted those things? And why? That's what I want to know. Wait, is Drew Misham your father? Give me a break! Doesn't it seem even remotely possible to you? I'd never even heard of any Drew Misham before. I hadn't even seen a picture of him, but there are cases drawn on his canvas. Every single one of them. It couldn't have been a coincidence. Just who was this Drew Misham? And what did he have to do with me? Yes.
To be continued.
Finally, we're about to get to the good part.
October 8th, 9:48 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 6.
Good morning. So, you're Vera, right? I'm Trucy. Trucy Wright. That's right with the W. But it's not right, right? We're on your side. You can tell us anything. Please?
Good morning.
She speaks! Not bad, not bad. But I think you do better with a little smile, don't you? You're so pretty. You need to sell yourself, you know? Trucy, let's take it easy for starters. This is how she smiles.
Thank you for taking my case.
Okay, well, that's a start, I guess. There she goes with the nail polish again. That's great, really. It's so cultured.
Want to try it?
Ooh, really? Girls.
Do da do da.
The victim, Drew Misham, was a forger, and a stolen painting was found in his studio. A life of crime, really. And maybe one that led to his death.
October 8th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Gavin!
Well, we will now, begin the, trial of Vera Misham. Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy, and he's looking around all nervous like.
The repercussions of today's trial will, most likely, be felt for a long time, and may indeed alter our legal system forever.
Today is a test of the jury system, and the first step towards a new order in our courts. That is secret mission. The jurors will function like a jury. It is hoped with their inclusion will help the courts to better reflect the people's will. Why aren't there any jurists in the courtroom? 3 closed-circuit cameras watch this courtroom at all times. The jurists have... Okay, that was weird. Access to everything that transpires. Jurists, judge well and judge cool.
Now see here, Prosecutor Gavin. I was going to say that.
My apologies, Herr Judge.
Judge today's trial coolly, if you would be so kind.
The jurists are unbound by the letter of the law. They don't affect the trial with evidence, but by their feelings. And we're about to find out just what effect they're going to have.
Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. The details of the case, if you would.
The victim is a painter, Drew Mission. He was killed in his own studio. His coffee was poisoned. By whom, you ask? By none other than the defendant, Vera Mission. There wasn't any poison in the coffee. Actun! Someone had been doing their homework. Indeed, poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself.
The mug?
Oh, I forgot I'm doing this voice for him now. The mug?
Oh.
Ah, residue was found on the rim, I see. The autopsy report describes the manner of your victim's death. The court accepts this into evidence. According to this report, the victim's death was caused by atroquinine poisoning.
Atroquinine.
Whichever. What am I, like 500 years old? I don't care.
A chemical.
A chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. A touch of atroquinine in the body is the touch of a reaper's scythe. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. You may present your witness. I have for you today a simple man for a simple case. A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety. That journalist, no doubt. The witness will state his name and occupation.
Ah, right. Well, for starters, my name's Spark Brushel. My job is a lone observer of the world.
In other words, a freelance journalist, right?
Him, if you don't mind, I'd like to state something for the record.
Well, I grabbed my own boobs.
Yep.
Yes, Mr. Brushel?
I dislike conclusions, specifically the jumping to aspect of conclusions. Preconceptions make a heart sandbox of endless desert waste. End quote.
But you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday.
Well, that's true, yes. But you must understand, I stand before you today with a man with a dream. I'm offering you my testimony in exchange for exclusive rights to the story. Scoop that turns Mr. Brushel into Mr. Brushel. End quote.
Let's hear your testimony then, shall we? A simple case, eh, Gavin? For me, the jury is still out.
I visited the studio around 9 that night to do the interview. The first outsider to enter the atelier. Journalist history made. End quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened to it next? Star Falls. End quote. Grabbing my own boobs. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time.
Apparently my boobs are the size of my eyes.
Yep. Actually, my eyes are bigger.
That does sound like a simple case. Unless you were the one who poisoned him.
Well, why are you saying this?
Ahem. Need I remind you, the cameras are rolling today. I feel the need to be a bit dramatic. You didn't do it, did you?
You think do a thing like that? Come on, that's like newsmaker making the news. End quote. Or even contemporary witch hunt. End quote. I know. Wild accusations, rock courtroom. End quote.
Rock indeed. Prosecutor Gavin sure looks like he's having fun. I'm so happy for him.
Sorry,
well, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination, please. Okay,
all right.
What do you think? Because I don't know.
I think I can do this.
This is
Next.
First aside to enter the ulterior journalist history made, unquote.
Yes.
You were the first reporter ever in Drew's studio?
Posterior. Posterity will look back on that night as a turning point in journalistic history.
Posterity, I think is what it says.
A basically insignificant step for all mankind. But a giant step for that Brushel guy. End quote.
If no one on the outside ever had access to the studio, then it would serve to reason that the deed was done by an insider. By which she means Vera did it. So, how did this epoch-making interview go?
Epoch-making. You just got her, bros. Press.
Would you mind being a little more specific?
Ooh-wee. Let me tell you, I enjoy a cuppa. In fact, it all began when I was in 3rd grade. No, wait, 4th grade.
It's not what I meant. I believe I know what Air Forehead is driving at. The coffee the victim was served. This coffee the victim was served. Did anybody other than the defendant touch it? Right, that's what I was going to say, really.
Well, now, if you've got a question to ask, you'd best straight up ask it. And that's what I tell all the new recruits, several times if necessary. Right, for a grade schooler, that's my motto. Okay, wait a second, what's a grade schooler again?
Who touched the coffee?
Don't know. I was in the back, looking at the studio equipment when she served it.
And what happened next?
And you know what happened next? Star falls. End quote. Press.
What's this about a star falling? Star falls, huh? It's like an old telegram. Send money over.
Zowie. You don't know? That's like a journalist code word. An important personage passes away. A star falls. Get it?
But there's no gravity in space, is there? I wouldn't think stars could fall, really. Does this matter?
Oh boy, this is good stuff, good stuff. Let me hit my... Wait for it.
What?
Okay. Man, just like... I want to see the entire toothbrush. Okay, let's go. How about star beaks? Breaks? Nah, Lex punch. I could go for some punch right now. Oh, I know. Star dies. Ah, Lex imagination. Like some Play-Doh. Of course, you could go with Drew dies. Straight to the point. I like it.
I think we need to hear about something a little more substantial. The moment of death, Brushel's coffee, the star's coffee. Safe state.
Safe state. I'd like to hear everything here, but I'd like to know first of Brushel's coffee.
So, you drank the coffee that Vera served you. Now drink your coffee.
Of course. When someone serves you coffee, you drink it. That's what my old boss always used to say. Oh crap, I forgot to say end quote. Sorry.
God dang it.
Never did get what he meant by that though.
But you're still alive, which is to say, you didn't die.
Of course not.
Squeeze, squeeze.
No point falling before you're a star. End quote.
That's not exactly what I was getting at.
What were you getting at, then? You know the poison was on the rim, not in the coffee.
Oh, yes, yes. There were 2 cups on the tray she brought. And one of the cups had Drew's signature painted on the side.
No chance to... Why would I use Clavier's voice? Whatever.
No chance to guess.
Yeah.
No chance the guest would take that one by mistake, I guess.
Well, Mr. Justice, was that testimony important? No.
Not important. It's not going to be.
We're gonna go back to this point.
The Stars coffee.
You said Mr. Misham had the coffee too? But did you actually see him drink your coffee?
Of course. He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger. End quote. And live in a manner of man sees dog, eat dog, and raps about war. Yet, I guess I can't say I saw him drink it really. He had one so-called sip, if that. Man puts lips to drunk, drinks. End quote.
That poison is quite virulent, I hear.
Virulent. My stomach did a so-called somersault. Since I gulped down that coffee without so much as a second glance at it. Wait, maybe something's there. Some kind of so-called trick.
End quote.
Anyone want to venture? I guess, for the record.
Does this guy have a pause button? Well, Mr. Justice, did you find that testimony valuable?
I'd say that was a bit valuable.
The victim drank his coffee, then immediately fell over.
Oh, yes, yes. You can go to press with that one.
Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Please add it to the testimony. Very well. The witness will add this to his testimony.
Vital, right. However, we had figured out that the poison takes 15 minutes.
Let's check it.
If only we could. Like,
Hang on.
after
I am going to try presenting the cup.
yeah, you go.
Woo! You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used. Atroquinine. Oh, Prosecutor Gavin was quite clear about the poison. A lethal dosage of 0.002 milligrams per... Why did I say mega? Paralyzes the central nervous system. If you drank that, even you, Mr. Justice, would be reduced to a quivering pile. Why are you using me as an example? Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. There was a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information. An omission! Atroquinine is a
Virulent.
as he said, but death doesn't come upon ingestion, not immediately. That's because atroquinine is slow acting. Slow acting! According to one forensic scientist, it's one of the most virulent poisons, but is absorbed into the body astonishingly slow. It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion for adverse effects to show. If we suppose that the moment of Mr. Misham sipped the coffee was when he sealed his fate, then he would still have had time left to enjoy his last cup of joe.
Oh god, my pants are so up high my neck.
His neck is tiny as well. Order! Order! What is the meaning of this? If what the defense says is correct, why, that contradicts the entire testimony we just heard. Well, Mr. Brushel, anything to say? On the record?
Slow acting. SLOWACT. It was virulent, alright. Even then, it had already begun digging its claws into the journalist.
He's working on his scoop. It's Brussels. Yeah? Air Brussels. Let's take a trip back down memory lane.
Huh?
Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. This is vital.
You know what I think? Squeeze, squeeze. I think that that was a not-so-subliminal suggestion. End quote.
I admit it does cause a problem if he died when you say he died. I would be forced to say off Widerstand to my simple case.
Of what a shine.
And you would be forced to say farewell to your article.
Come again.
You can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye.
Scoop. Scoop.
I forgot about that animation.
Look, wait. Squeeze, squeeze. Just wait a second. Just one second. Squeeze, squeeze.
Just one squeeze. We're waiting, out with it!
I think I just recalled a so-called important revival recollection. End quote. Story of survival. End quote. Squeeze, squeeze.
Attorney utterly confused, end quote.
Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I heard the poison takes its sweet time, see?
But not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently. Mr. Brussel, are you saying you know something that explains what happened?
You bet I am. The antidote for a poisonous contradiction. End quote, as you might say.
Or I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say.
I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. See, thanks to my journalism skills, squeeze, squeeze, I know who poisoned that copy.
His neck! It's so thin. Order, order, order! As far as I can tell, the witness is standing by his testimony that Mr. Misham died the instant after he drank.
Of course I'm standing by my testimony. And my dream of exclusive rights to this story.
Ah! I suppose that was too much to hope for. What was? Of course, he wouldn't choose a simple case. Not him. Him? Phoenix Wright. Who else? Atoon, Air Brussels. Report for us, if you will. What is it that you noticed? The court is a critical... This court is a critical trial of the juror system. I'm afraid no room for doubt is permissible. You will testify to the court about what you noticed.
Alright. When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Misham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now let's think about it. What if he was writing a suicide note?
A suicide note!
Yes, he had this look on his face. Man's face inscrutable as quadratic equation. End quote.
Suicide?
Inscrutable.
Poor Mr. Mission.
Sorry.
But that means Vera's innocent. Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview? Oh. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination.
Alrighty then. You know, I've just realized something. Whenever I do a voice for, like, the interesting characters, I do a laugh at them.
So he put the letter away when he saw you.
The early reporter gets warm. End quote. That's my secret.
I'm not sure I follow.
It's the night of the interview. I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, I barge in.
Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that a lawful entry, really?
Mr. Misham sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. I knew a secret when I saw one, and that was one.
It does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice? I wonder. It does have the ring of something important.
Add it to my testimony.
The defense finds this testimony vital, Your Honor. So, very well, please add to the testimony then. This one's pretty obvious.
The voice,
No.
man. The voice.
Oh, yeah.
You're lacking it for the judge.
Very well! Please add it to the testimony!
Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge.
This one's pretty freaking obvious.
Present the red envelope.
As it just so happens, there was a single letter in the desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope. Prosecutor Gavin. Yes? Yeah? Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no. But, erfolge. It's easy to mistake the color of an envelope. I guess. But not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already, 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Brushall.
I can explain that. True, right? He wanted to get that letter in an envelope pronto. Get it out of IB's eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed it away.
And what about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump? Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope. Pick one.
Safe state, it's impossible. If I remember something correctly.
That's impossible. Ah, I like your expression. So full of confidence. It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with the assistance of a forensic scientist. What? Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham.
Ow.
Why would he address a letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself.
I've been scooped.
I love his freak out pose. Order! Order!
I've been...
I said order!
I've been sister locationed. You know what I'm referencing, don't you?
Barely. Mr. Brushall, can you explain this to the court?
Oh my. How could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots. End quote.
I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushall.
Well, that's the thing. After you put the letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there on the desk drawer searching for something.
His desk drawer.
Yes. Give me a second. People walking in on me. Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp. End quote.
A stamp, whatever for.
Mailed to mail his letter. What else? And then, why yes, I think I saw him put it in his letterbox. Yes, it was a yellow envelope, and he put it in that box.
Well, apparently this yellow letter has nothing to do with the case.
Oh, how I wish it did. Just think, if that were a suicide, what a story. Star writes suicide note in front of a reporter. False. End quote.
Ahem, as I was saying, it has nothing to do with the case. That said, yes, Your Honor, it makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope.
Mr. Drew Misham, I've deposited 1,000, signed the papers, and sent the
I'm not pressing any buttons. $1,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was from 7 years ago, yeah?
Yeah. My nose just blew its bubble. So, I am finished here. I mean, am I finished here? I was thinking of, going home to start writing.
Oh my god, his face. You get to see it in a loop now. That is... Bing, bing, bing. Bing, 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 bing.
Okay, let's continue.
I hate to state what should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that, rather unique They even pointed it out in the game.
Yuck. Come on. Squeeze. Attorney is active imagination. Little else. End quote.
Even I know something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. You know, I'm starting to understand about what all this perceiving stuff is about. Judge has active imagination. End quote. Please continue with your testimony. Tell us about the scent of a story.
Hey, wait. Don't move it. I'm the one asking the questions here, usually.
The scent of a story.
Actually, took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview.
Reporter leverages story. Gets his interview.
End quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. That red envelope probably has something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare.
This is a perceived segment.
Oh boy.
So you threatened to go to press with this story? That's how you got your interview. Blackmail?
Well, yes. I mean, no. He wasn't exactly black. I mean, it's not brush eyes, lick, irk.
That's glass. He's wiping his glasses.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a windshield wiper. Something wrong, Mr. Brushall?
Look, squeeze. This is my story, my tidbit. Journalist info is livelihood. End quote.
I see.
While you having me chatting away here, on window washing my eyeball, what's going on out there? When does some Rolly Woodswears or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story? It could be going to press while I'm going to waste.
The court feels your pain, Mr. Brushall. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace. A certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago?
7 years ago, the 7th month of the 777th year.
Oh, you don't get it? You know what happened 7 years ago? In this universe?
The dragons disappeared.
Phoenix Wright got disbarred.
Yeah, I know, that was in the actual game. Making a fairy tale joke.
Oh, yeah.
That one should have been obvious. Next. 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 Next.
That makes sense. Nothing jumps out as ridiculous.
I wonder what this story he's talking about is. It must have been good to get an interview with a famous recluse like that.
Something powerful enough to drag Drew Misham out of hiding. I wonder. Maybe it had something to do with Mr. Misham's art. Oh, I remember the solution to this one.
Go to the next one. That one, press it.
Press it or...
Press.
Exactly what sort of story was this?
Oh, a little one, like I said. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing in between. Nothing like my little squeezums down here. End quote. I'm going to suggest that I handle lead on this particular story. But I didn't threaten or cajole or nothing. Honest. Squeeze, squeeze.
So his suggestion was enough to get an interview. Mr. Misham must have really wanted to keep it under wraps. Here, can I do this one?
Press here.
A certain case 7 years ago. Tell us, what case?
Let me state one thing, Mr. Attorney. You can quote me on this. I can't talk about that case.
Why not?
It's about journalistic pride and staunchness, and credibility, and connections. Journalist reveals sources only over his dead body. End quote. So what'll be? Gonna strangle me? Dead man don't tell tales, attorney.
He sounds pretty determined not to talk. Our chance of breaking his will aren't looking good.
Now you can take over.
Alright. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare.
His math or something. Oh, gross.
Sweat much, Mr. Brushel?
Okay. Yeah, well. Oh man can't help his clients, you know. Especially when he's brushing his teeth.
It's more than that. When Mr. Misham's talent was mentioned, you suddenly began to sweat buckets.
Yuck.
You're hiding something about his talent.
What? That ridiculous.
Evidence time.
Evidence.
Let's show where Mr. Misham's true talent lay. Which just so happens
The
that the
hidden
evidence
painting.
showing the talent mentioned in that letter.
Hidden painting.
The painting was found in This painting was found in Mr. Misham's studio.
Yeah.
There are two problems with this painting. The first is it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham.
Hello, Baron.
The second is that there was another painting in the studio which looked exactly like this one, except it was only half done. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of $100,000, which suggests a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries.
Are you...
Oh, we got a freeze frame of that.
Oh yeah, Baron, the voice is going to get annoying.
That is all, Your Honor.
Yeah, everyone, please. Everyone. Can we keep this private? Please. I know this is a court of law. This is my story. My scoop.
Forgery. That's a serious crime!
Drew Misham is known as an artist these days. But there were rumors he dabbled in another kind of art until a few years back.
Another art meeting. Forgery? Oh my god!
Drew Misham was talented at making precise, detailed fakes. The fact that it's certain criminal element quick to discover.
Criminal elements. What? You can't seriously be talking about...
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking about forging evidence. The rumors started circulating 7 years ago.
7 years ago? So are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for...
Exactly. Forged evidence nets tiny profit. End quote.
And sorry, Baron, it's just an annoying guy needs to have an annoying voice.
Order! 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 Why, it's like our victim was living a double life. Ahaha. This is my chance. So, the victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have had plenty of enemies we know nothing about. This is my first time hearing of this criminal, though. We certainly found no criminal connections when we conducted our investigation. But how do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of some illegal activity here. But there's no proof tying this letter to our case. Our case was, and remains simple from the beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned that mug that night. And you, of course. I love how he nods at that. Like, yeah, I did it.
Hey. The only thing I poison is my pen. Squeezing when I'm writing interviews.
Mr. Brushel, your testimony to the point has been quite unreliable. It doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen.
What are you talking about? My journalism rock solid, so you journalism so solid. You could stand on an elephant on it.
In any case.
Wait a second. No more Darian either. Sorry about that.
Let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain that the situation in that studio from the recap, the trial is over. Apollo, what's he talking about? The cross-examination showed Mr. Brushel didn't have a reason or means to poison him. As long as there's no other suspects, then the killer had to be there. That's what. The next testimony is our last chance. Mr. Brushel, your testimony, please!
Cue the interview. A recap. The only other person in the studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee.
Drink more coffee.
More coffee. More coffee. More coffee. Oh, God,
I can't take... No, I'm kidding.
The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the night was Muck. He had nothing left of the studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter.
A nice testimony. Clear?
Succulent.
And without room for doubt.
Aw, shucks. You really think so?
I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your final cross-examination. Right. I still have one trump card left to play, and I won't let this trial end until I use it.
Alright, go on to
I like to just go to the end of these, just to make sure if it gives me any hints. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
But go into the present category.
Hang on. What do you think, Apollo? Everything he's saying seems so not flawed. Well, that's kind of what you want from a testimony, really. I need to keep my eyes on what matter. How and why was Drew Mishem killed? Vera poured the coffee. That's not going to change. But if that coffee didn't kill him, I need to find what did and prove it. Wait, the only other person in the studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She admitted as much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. Not true. We know that's not true. But how to prove it?
Press it first.
He said he licked a stamp.
Pressed.
Yeah. You're sure about that? Oh my god, Sound. Stop glitching out.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to stop glitching out.
Well, to be really... Sorry.
Well, to be really, really precise, I was busily gobbing mint candies the whole time.
Who sent a message?
I'll check it. You continue.
Alright.
Or never mind.
One of those candies might have been poisoned. Objection! Yet, at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room. And no mint residue was found. It was a long shot anyway. Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this.
You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than the coffee?
Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof...
Possibility is there, I can feel it. Just maybe not prove it. Not yet. And possibility isn't going to cut it, not now. Mr. Misham ingested the poison via a route other than the coffee?
I can prove it and present the red letter.
It's not on the red letter. It's on the yellow one that we don't have. Oh, excellent! Let's see your proof then! Please show us your evidence! What evidence shows that the victim wasn't poisoned via his coffee mug? There is one thing. Or one thing that could. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to use it yet, though.
Did you save state before you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just say one thing right here. What could this have held?
A postage stamp, maybe.
Exactly.
So small. 2 inches by 2 inches, yes, a postage stamp.
Shit. Dang it. Shut up, Gavin.
Shut up.
Must I explain this over and over and over? We don't need possibilities here, Airfolker. We need proof.
I know that.
You should also know that every proof has its moment. Perhaps you're a bit early.
Wow, he even flat right says it. I can tell you what we know at this point. The victim put nothing to his mouth but that coffee mug. Another hole in his case that needs plugging before I can prove anything. But first things first, I'd rather uncover a weak spot before I try to strike again. On with the cross-examination. Hey, we don't lose anything! Woohoo!
And nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing.
That's it. That's it. This is the only link between that studio and the outside world. A letterbox! What did Mr. Brushel just tell us? When he entered the studio on the night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter.
Yeah, I said that, and yeah, it was true.
Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox. Ah! But that very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night, the yellow envelope disappeared.
Ah, yes, intriguing. So an envelope has disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, this changes nothing.
Huh? He has a point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got into Mr. Misha. Is it really important that this envelope the witness says he saw it disappeared? Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. It seems very important to me. Very well then, the witness will add this to his testimony.
You got it.
I still think this fails to change anything, Airforehead.
I wouldn't be so sure, Claudia. A letter disappeared from the crime scene that day. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for.
A letter was put in the post from the studio, but I hardly think that matters.
I think this is the right play. It's not.
Load. Press it. Maybe not, actually.
Nothing could be more serious than an envelope disappearing from that studio. And you were hiding that fact from us.
Yes.
Yes, well, actually.
I don't argue the possibility that the letter disappeared from the studio. But Airforehead, isn't there a much more serious question before us?
Right. How Mr. Misham was poisoned, I know. Mr. Brushel's testimony has changed, which means the facts of the case have too. And what he told us means something entirely different now. I'm starting to think.
Let's keep thinking, Apollo.
Clearly, the only but I hardly think that matters.
I already presented that, so we won't need to do it again. I was just on a whim.
In a hurry.
It has to be something we can present here. It's not going to be this one. Let's just do everything. Except for the concert stuff.
If I just look at this.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh my gosh. We're supposed to do literally what we just did. You're sure about that?
Well, to be really, really precise,
We're gonna skip this. We already saw this.
and we were supposed to
Mr.
present.
Misham ingested the poison via a route other than the coffee. I can prove it. Proof is possible. Here goes nothing. You do understand what we need, yeah? Proof, Airforehead, not possibilities. Of course, and Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof. What did you say? I have proof of the disappearing envelope.
I saw him writing a letter. I did.
Which was picked up by the mailman, I assume. Except I forgot to use this voice! Of course, which means that envelope had a stamp on it. A stamp? Ah! As we all know, stamps come with dry glue on the back. In order to use the glue, you have to wet it by licking the stamp. Heh, no one was tossing to actually lick stamps in this day and age. Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead after all. Okay, so he licked the stamp. But wait! How does that explain the atroquinine on the rim of the coffee mug? If he licked the back of a poisoned stamp, the poison would get on his tongue, yes? What would then happen if he put the coffee mug to his mouth, Those traces on the mug weren't the killer's doing, it was the other way around. What? The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Misham. Mr. Misham poisoned the coffee mug himself. Order, order, order! But that doesn't... does it? Recall, if you would. Atroquinine is a slow-acting poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on that envelope. But the time wasn't up until... his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe.
Snap. I gotta write this down.
You have something to add, Mr. Brushel? Uh-oh, his nose is picking up another scent.
I believe I mentioned it earlier. Well, that's the thing. I see. After he put the envelope in that letter, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp. End quote. But I don't seem to remember him ever finding one.
Maybe he just run out. Incidentally, if he searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime, there were no stamps. Not a single one. That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poison possible. Good show, good show. You can't even prove that there was a stamp at the scene in the first place. Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of this poison stamp? This one's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Well, that certainly is a cute little frame. And by little, I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. I noticed that too during my inspection. So what? Apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atroquinine residue. What? Why wasn't I told about this? The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe an inch wide at most. You aren't saying... Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A commemorative stamp, perhaps?
Order! Order! Order!
Save!
0.00001% of your soul has been damaged. Twofold.
Alright. The poison stamp was in this frame? Impossible. Prosecutor Gavin, why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck.
You know, can I say something? I had a thought, see?
Squeeze, squeeze.
Squeak, squeak.
What, Mr. Brushwood? Please stop jittering around like that.
But I can't stop squeezing. The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends. Makes enemies, too. End quote.
So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him?
Whatever guitar sounds make.
Oh, Lich, that's Lich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Governor's song lyrics, please. Finally, something we agree on. This stamp was a murder weapon? Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? No one. Nine. Oh, I disagree. Come again? Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drumisham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail? Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew red letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon. Ridiculous. Where's your proof? I want proof. Show us evidence that this poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. I might not have evidence, per se, but things are finally starting to come together. What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling. I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Misham was killed. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can't show you how someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Misham the stamp of death. I believe it's this, but I'm not certain.
It may. I think it's that one.
Isn't that the envelope? The one from 7 years ago? The one from 7 years ago! Think about the text of the letter again.
I've deposited 1,000 designated account. Please send a receipt once you've confirmed the transfer. Sign the paper, then send
And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. Ah!
In other words, if I had it straight, the stamp, poison, the stamp, lick, end quote.
Now what if he had done exactly as the letter asked? He would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in his letterbox. 15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. But that clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath, and the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system.
My hair thing looks weird in the back.
Such a splendid imagination you have, Forehead. Let me confirm one thing with you, if I may. So, this poison stamp was inside this envelope from 7 years ago? Yeah? Is that what you would have us believe? Really? Well, it's a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility. Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poison stamp with this envelope? A stamp that then became the murder weapon? How do you intend to prove that, seeing coincidence? Well, it was 7 years ago, and we don't even know who sent that letter. And your answer is silence. I see, very well. I move to...
This is someone else
It's
that
not
you
nice.
know.
It's not nice to pick on the Oh. It's not nice to pick on the Fräulein Clavier. Emma?
Well, like my Christoph Gavin impression? Did I sound like him?
Don't quit your day job. Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fraulein Detective?
Someone had to come dig you out of all the mess you've been making of this crime.
Mess.
You know, none of this would have happened if you just trusted in science a little more. You can find out what that stamp, if that stamp was in the envelope, easy.
Care to explain yourself, Fraulein Detective?
Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right?
That's right, the poison detection spray. Produce the red envelope at once. You can open it on the authority of the court.
I'd do the bottom right corner. Because that's the only open one.
Well, would you look at that?
No mistaking it. That's atropine residue.
Objection! I don't believe it. A murder weapon from the past. Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last. Objection! Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why. Why did the murder take place? Didn't the murder take place 7 years ago?
Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Misham figured it out.
Figured what out?
He realized that the person who sent that letter wanted him dead, so he sent his reply with a different stamp.
And put his decisive evidence in a frame? Ah, you're still here?
Yes, squeeze. Can I make a statement here? On the record, I, Spark,
Razor Tooth.
Brushel, claim this scoop as mine. Drew Misham killed in cold blood. By sender of 7-year-old letter. End quote. No, maybe something like Star falls after 7-year delay. End quote.
Why are you still here?
Order! I see no reason for further argument here, though I admit this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years. Stamp is taken straight to afterlife, end quote.
Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge.
I see no need for further debate on the matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant.
Apollo, I think we just won.
Very well, this court finds the defendant.
Jurist system.
Is this the bright future of our legal system? Prosecutor Gavin? A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago? Tickets for Gaviner's show are invalid after 2 weeks. But it doesn't make sense any other way. It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in Air Forehead's claim. A contradiction? A poison stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did?
Emma explained that. He must have realized it was poison.
There lies the rub. 7 years ago, the forger Drew Misham set the trap and put the stamp in a frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why, 7 years later, did he use the stamp on the night of the murder? Surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot? It's been 7 years, that's entirely possible. He put the murder weapon on a frame on his desk for 7 years and forgot? Do you expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself?
Oi.
I admit, this is all quite shocking myself. It does seem highly unlikely that he would fall full of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years.
Apollo!
I don't think we're winning anymore. I'm glad to see we are all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you, Air Forehead.
Okay, then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope?
The poison stamp? Where exactly is this poison stamp again? Have you brought it to court with us?
I see no proof that such a thing ever existed.
What about the atroquinine residue, huh? Oh, I agree. That does seem to be atroquinine residue. But for it, it's certainly no stamp. Yeah, but even if your precious poison stamp did exist, Drumisham never would have used it. That is all. I believe we've come to a conclusion. Again.
Apollo, were we wrong the whole time?
I can't believe it. The poison traces match up. It can't be coincidence. I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Mr. Justice. Yes, Your Honor? Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drumisham received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atroquinine in the document inside the envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene on this tiny picture frame. The defense had all indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope, an envelope that left the scene of the crime with a poison stamp on it.
Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poison stamp, and Drumisham, knowing this, put it in a frame, he never would have used this stamp.
I'm afraid you're right. Which means there's a fatal flaw in the defense's case.
I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of the atroquinine, the envelope, the frame. Gavin, you are a dick. And Drumisham's mysterious death. They're all connected somehow.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us?
Come on, Clavier, you were so nice in the last trial. What happened to you?
The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake.
Ah, a fake clue. Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, yeah.
The fake clue that's thrown us off the poison trail is none other than...
Save state.
I know what it is.
You can choose it then.
At least I think I know what it is. I think it's... this! The victim was a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand.
I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison.
That all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself.
Oh, I remember this. Congratulations, you've completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger? It makes a good story, I'll give you that. The fake clue. Fakes. Forgeries. Ah! I know the face, that's the I just had an idea face! I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway.
What if our forger is the fake?
Come again? 7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years pass. Now the forger stumbles onto the very same trap and dies. Why?
That's what I want to know! That's what I want to know!
Because the forger who was killed was a fake. Here we are again. The victim was a fake?
One forger smelled the trap. One forger fell into the trap. That's 2 forgers, and one of them was a fake. Order! Order! Order!
So you are telling us that Drumisham, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was a fake, who was the real forger? You'd better not be claiming that there was some kind of switcheroo.
I'm afraid you're going to have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drumisham was.
If Drumisham wasn't the real forger, there's only one other person it could have been.
Understood, Your Honor. Forger Drumisham was himself a forgery. The real forger was...
Save state. I want to see what happens. Mr. Brushel. I really want to see what happens.
It's just gonna be a generic, you failed.
Aww.
Who is it? For reals.
The person to the left.
This? Vera Misham?
More than likely, she's the only one who had access to
There can
him.
only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger, known as Drumisham, is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham! Order! 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 Mr. Justice, this is going on a limb! Out on a limb, even for you!
I kinda agree. I mean, Vera, a forger?
Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in the studio for quite some time. That forger wasn't caught in the trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger. Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. If we know that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well... that usually means something bad. Fascinating.
Actually, I think I know what happened. I'm sticking my neck out.
Vera Misham! You've been paying attention to the trial so far? Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger? Drew Misham? What's that? An expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face. I'm used to being stared at by Fräuleins, believe me. Though they usually talk to me too. Tell us, were you the one who forged those works of art? Yes. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
So the forger, Drew Misham, was you?
Yes, it was me.
What? What? The court was in an uproar and it wasn't coming down. We had to break for a 10-minute recess.
This seems like a good place to pause.
No, we have to keep going. This next part doesn't take that long.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell most of my viewers,
What?
which is barely none.
What?
Almost none. We may just have to deal.
Okay. So where exactly did that leave us, Apollo?
Well, the Drew Misham who was killed wasn't Drew Misham, the forger, basically.
Huh? Well then, who was he?
Well, he was actually doing her nails. So you really made those forgeries.
Yes. Her father. I know. It was wrong.
Can you tell us how it happened?
My father was a painter. I loved painting ever since I was a child. One day, Father saw it in me. He saw that I had the talent.
The talent for making forgeries?
How should I say? It was not only paintings I made. Given the materials, I could make anything.
Anything.
Father was so proud, and I so happy. But, yeah, I was making these.
Forgeries.
I've never had a good constitution or personality. I know very little outside my... Now, because of me, all is...
Do you know about this red envelope?
I remember that envelope. Some time ago.
So you were already you were already creating your works back then?
I started when I was only 12.
So the one who figured out the stamp was poisoned out was
Mr. Justice, it's time to the courtroom, please.
right.
And this is where I'm going to say we should.
God damn it, ban.
Yes.
Those 3 paintings in the studio.
There's such a big plot twist here, and you need to see it today. Ugh.
I painted those as part of... Sorry.
I painted those as part of my...
Right, see? We checked them out and we saw what was underneath. We saw the rough sketches underneath the 3 finished paintings.
I see. Mr. Justice,
Yes?
Father, he... of both of you,
Your late father.
he was watching, gathering information all about the Wright and Co. law offices.
But lately, we're not doing just law.
Yes, we do tricks, gags, to amuse, and play piano.
What?
Poorly.
They're not really gags.
Yet, when Father heard you had resumed legal business, how pleased he was.
Who's Mr. Misham?
How am I supposed to know?
What if he was Daddy's daddy?
Judging from the relative ages involved, I'd say it's highly unlikely. Things are already confusing enough with all these daddies running around. We know that the victim's daughter, Vero, was the forger. What does this mean for the case? Guess we're about to find out.
October 8th, 1:30 and 6 p.m. District Court, Courtroom number 3.
I'm glad I don't have to speak so loudly in this session.
Court is now back in session. Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off.
Perhaps you could begin by telling us how it all worked. How did you set up this Drew Misham forger persona?
There's that stare again. She's drilling more holes into his head.
I know it's hard for you to... But hey, he's a handsome guy.
What's hard? Very well, miss, if you would. Did you really make those detestable forgeries? Ouch.
Perhaps you'd rather answer my question. Were you the one who painted that painting? The remarkably similar one.
Ah, yes.
Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
I painted it, yes. Father praised me quite highly for it.
So, she was the one who made the forgeries.
Yes, yet she did not wish to reveal the truth of their operation. So the victim was a stand, a decoy. To the world at large, he was the forger, not her.
I've done a bad thing. I have, haven't I?
Regardless, we need a little more information about, for instance, this. You have seen this before, yeah?
Yes. It was in the desk drawer.
Very well, you may proceed with your testimony. Tell us everything you know about this envelope.
I created things in Father. This envelope came after my first work. That was a painting. Father handled the deal, all of it. I received the stamp that I was in the envelope. It was after that the job that moved to the current studio.
There certainly was much of great interest in your testimony.
Not as the witness realizes it.
Very well, please begin the cross-examination. Right, okay. I need more information about this forger, this Drew Misham.
Since he so badly wants to see the reaction I get out of this, I'm going to let you go through and do what you want to do.
I want to do this quickly, so I'm actually going to look this up. Oh, okay. We just literally press on everything. So these things you were making, you mean paintings identical to other paintings, right?
The closer they were, the happier your father was. I was happy too.
Still, you're quite young now. When did you begin this work?
My first painting was sold.
Your Honor, she had no idea what she was doing was illegal. Easy there, little attorney. You're not here to defend her for the crime of forgery. True. Please, tell us more about this envelope. This envelope that may very well have killed your father.
Alright. This envelope came after my first work. That was other than a painting.
By other than a painting, you mean you'd only done paintings up to that point.
Yes. But father had a realization. He noticed my talent to extend it to making things other than paintings.
For instance?
For instance, letters someone had written, or a fingerprint left upon a cup, or a signature on a document, a seal upon a letter.
None of this makes her sound very innocent at all. And this $100,000 promised in the letter was the start. The beginnings of a new industry for Drew Misham. A new industry? The creation of items to be used in criminal proceedings. Forging evidence, in other words. Uh-oh.
Father handled the deal, all of it.
So you didn't know about the things you were making were being used?
I enjoy painting very much.
I think I understand. The Fraulein has lived in an unusual little world. Can you tell us about what happened to the papers that were in this envelope?
Father signed them and sent them back, I believe.
Did he follow the instructions? Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp? It's a rather important matter. Give your answer some thought.
I received that stamp. The stamp that is in the envelope.
What do you mean you received it?
Did I do something wrong?
You didn't use the stamp because it was dangerous, correct? Deadly poison on the back. Atroquinine. A moment, Air Forehead. You can't force an answer upon the witness. Now then, perhaps you would tell me, Fraulein Vera. Why did you receive this stamp? Is something wrong?
It was beautiful.
Ah, you mean it was one of those commemorative stamps. Quick sketch.
Yes, I think it was.
So you didn't know about the poison?
I'm confused.
I guess not. So the trap failed by chance. A mistake. Thanks to this commemorative stamp. Quite the close call.
It was after that job that we moved to the current studio.
You mean you moved to where the current Drew studio is?
Yes, we saw very few people. We began drawing picture books.
This single job has tied them to the criminal underworld. I think Mr. Misham wanted to reduce their visibility in the world at large.
When we had to meet someone for some reason, Father posed as the creator of the work.
So that was the real essence of the artist Drew Misham. You did the work and he supplied the face. So, you really didn't know anything, did you? You had no idea how much danger you were in.
No, sadly not.
Apparently not. About this commemorative stamp, could you tell us more about it?
It was very pretty. More than that,
Yes.
it was a picture of people.
This is something new. Apparently,
Oh,
we've got some cross-examination yet ahead of us. If you would be so kind as to continue your testimony, Fraulein.
Okay. The stamp was a picture of my favorite magician. Kept it.
Oh. Oh. Oh no.
Those magicians you liked. Was it this bunch? Apollo, they're not a bunch. I see. Still, I have to wonder. Why include a commemorative stamp like that in a business letter? Good question. Well, pretty stamps are always better, and you can't beat Troop Gramarye. But the whole murder plan was a failure because of it. Ironic, don't you think? Prosecutor Gavin?
I'm sweating bullets over here.
Prosecutor Gavin? Gramarye. I was with Gavin. Might I ask just one question of this witness? In your testimony just now, you stated this was your first work that was other than in painting. Please, tell me, what exactly did you make?
Can I ask why?
No! Answer the question! Now! Prosecutor Gavin, you're usually not the one whose volume concerns me. Yes, it is unbecoming of me. I apologize. But I must know. Please, Miss Misham, tell me.
It was a book. Single page. In a quote-unquote book.
A book? Please be more specific.
It was a handwritten book. Like a diary.
No! I don't know! What's wrong with Prosecutor Gavin? He looks like he just saw a ghost. Miss Misham, this book. Was there a picture of a silk cat on the back cover? Yes or no? How?
How did you know?
Prosecutor Gavin, the defendant is answering all of your questions. Stop badgering her. He's told you nothing, has he? Your solid mentor, nothing! Solid who? Phoenix Wright. Who else? Daddy? He'd never told you about the trial 7 years ago, about how he came to lose his attorney's badge. It was a certain piece of evidence that decided his fate, you know. A certain diary. On the back, it bore the mark of a silk cat. What? Phoenix Wright tossed out the profession by false evidence. And the forger who made that evidence? Is this girl standing right in front of me? Farah, you must tell us. The evidence you made was used in a trial 7 years ago. Who asked Drew Misham, you, to forge the evidence? For all our sakes, who was it?
Cores of steel. We only met once.
You met the client? Well, who was it?
It was.
What's going on with Farah? She's staring at Prosecutor Gavin's face again. Yes? What? Is this something about me?
I remember clearly. I remember who gave me the book, the diary.
Who was it? There's a reason that she was staring at Gavin.
It was the other Gavin.
The devil.
Defendant Vera Misham. Condition unconscious. Examiner's diagnosis, acute atroquinine poisoning. This is the recording of the trial for the murder of Drew Misham. Vera Misham was, during the trial, poisoned by an unknown assailant. The dosage was just under the lethal amount, sparing the defendant's life. She is currently in intensive care and is not to be disturbed for any reason. A very simple case, at first glance, until it finally began to show its true colors. Up, the Phoenix Wright 1 courtroom theme is playing.
I get to voice all of these as we discussed already.
You get to voice all the characters.
Yes, but
except the ones I already claimed voices on.
these are narrators, though.
Fine. Do you want voices?
No, continue going on this one. You.
In some ways, that was the starting point of it all. And this is where we must go. To find the whole truth.
That's an adorable little girl.
That's it for today. Showdown time. Maybe we can watch this cutscene. I lost. It's only a game of poker. A game I've played for a long time, and only lost twice. Who was the first? The man I killed, of course. Well, it seems I've found the partner I've been looking for all along. Over a game of cards? Why, yes, over a game of cards. That was how we first met. 7 years ago. 7 years earlier, Phoenix Wright's final trial.
And cut.
Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. And we will see you all in the next one. Take care, continue testing, and best of luck in all of your future endeavors. Oh, I'm so excited. I haven't played this part of the case yet, so this is all new for me. And it's going to be awesome.
And best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.